All right, so I'm out on a training ride right now. I'm trying to get like between 15 and 20 miles in today. Easy zone 2 pace, nothing too crazy. But yeah, I just wanted to bring you along for a training ride and also talk a little bit about what I have planned for the season. So this is my 6th season as a athlete with sponsorships or a sponsored athlete. I am mostly in like the community advocacy space. So I'm not in like the performance space. So none of my contracts are based on podiums or performances, although, you know, there's obviously benefits for getting podiums, you know, financial and otherwise. But that's not like my primary motivation or the focus of my contract. So as a community leader, what I do is I show up at events and host activations. Activations are like, they're called marketing activations, and it's where you meet with the people that are in the program, that are people that are a part of the event, and something cool. A lot of the activations that I do are like meet and greets, and by that I mean it's just like a social, so trying to bring people together, either, you know, para athletes or BIPOC athletes or both, and then also usually hosting rides, and the rides would be for para athletes or BIPOC or both, just depending on the focus of the event and which organization of mine. And so some of the events I go to, I represent Dirtbound, my organization. Sometimes I represent myself. I also go to events with other organizations and represent them, or sometimes I'm a workshop leader or guest speaker. Oh yeah, that's another thing I should know. I lead a lot of workshops and do a lot of public speaking, so I try to make most of my workshops like free, but if they're a part of an event, you know, you're obviously gonna have to pay for the event entrance or be attending the event. So that's kind of like what I do as a community leader. I also consult with races and events and organizations on inclusion of para athletes or BIPOC athletes, generally just like how to be more inclusive of different communities. And so I've been doing that work for 6 years, even before I was a para athlete, but the primary focus was on BIPOC. And now it is for both or one or the other, depending on how somebody wants to work with me. So that work can be paid. That can also be, you know, volunteer work that I do. It just depends on how it all works out, you know. I think for me, it's really important for me to make this information accessible for all and allow people to have the opportunity to interface with it in various ways. I've found, like, you know, sometimes just like small chunks of information is really valuable for people. So, you know, first interaction might just be like, hey, let me come out and like ride your trails. Second interaction is like, hey, let's add, you know, an adaptive category here or there. But you don't need to do everything all at once. And I think that it's like, for me, it works a lot better like building long-term relationships and building trust and working towards like shared goals. Because yeah, it's like, it's not feasible to have all of that stuff happen at one time. And I don't think it's necessary for people to like only work with me. If they're doing that kind of work, they can work with anybody. But yeah, I like to provide really accessible information and like to connect people with each other to do this kind of work. So yeah, that's kind of my life as a community leader and advocate. I also obviously race. I took 2 years off of gravel racing. Last year I didn't do really any gravel racing, riding, training. The year before I brought a team to a gravel race, to SBT Gravel, as a part of Dirtbound. It was Dirtbound's first program, and that was really awesome. But I just kind of got like a little burnt out on gravel training, and you know, it takes a lot out of you. I decided to reapproach it this year. I guess I'll get into that in a minute, but yeah. So I race mountain bikes, gravel. Mountain bikes, usually like enduro. I do one downhill race through Seattle Classic, but most of the racing I do is enduro. I like enduro because of the format of the race. So I like being able to ride multiple stages, and yeah, like the thing about downhill that's great is it's just like one track, and after that one track is done, you're done. And I have found I really like the variety of enduro training because you have the opportunity to ride many tracks and get to see so many parts of a trail and have the opportunity to warm up throughout the day. And I notice like usually like my second or third stage is usually my money maker, and that's where, you know, I'm hitting all the numbers and getting the speeds that I want. So yeah, I've got a couple enduro races planned. I'm super excited about those. I think, yeah, one of the things that's challenging for all of the races is just like having to advocate for para athletes to be there. So I, you know, try to choose a mixture between events that have already started that process and events that like are just beginning, because it can be really time consuming doing consulting on those events in addition to being a participant and trying to race. Ooh, I got some sand up here. It's like 70 degrees today. It's so hot. It should not be this hot in February. Alright, so in terms of like what I have planned, now you kind of have an idea of what I get up to in the bike world, and what I'm about. For me, the primary focus of this season is athlete development. So the end of the 2025 season, I finally had some time to do some athlete development, and it was amazing. And the thing is, the last like 6 seasons, I have traveled, you know, all over the country, multiple states, to go to all different types of events. And you train for the event, you go to the event, you ride for like a day at the event or 1.5 days, and then you go home, and there's like 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 travel days in between, depending on how you decide to get there, if I'm driving, if I'm flying. And it's pretty disruptive. It's challenging to like maintain training, like as I'm sure anybody can imagine. It's really challenging to maintain training through that, and it's challenging. Ooh, this is kind of falling off. Hold on a second. Okay, maybe not. It's challenging to stay consistent in all things, and it's challenging to do any type of athlete development. And I also like haven't left. I also, you know, in the past have not left a lot of space in my season for kind of like fun things to pop up, changes, the schedule's pretty set. So I typically set my schedule. I start setting my schedule in like October, actually probably closer to August, right? Because that's when the main portion of my season is wrapping up, and I'm kind of deciding like what races I'm going to go back to or what events have been successful. And then in about October, I'm like my season's pretty set for the next year. And I've reached out to people that I need to reach out to. My, sponsorship decks are done. I've already had conversations with a lot of sponsors. And at that point, it's just time to set things in motion and take like a couple weeks off from the season and train. This year, my season didn't end until like mid-November. So I had a very, very long season. And so it didn't end until mid-November. And that required a lot out of me. And felt kind of tired at the end of the season. So I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for the next year that, still had a good return on investment, a good ROI, and also kind of like fit within my athletic goals.